Here we are going into a new computer animation lesson, and what we're going to be doing is animating some onomatopoeias, or words that sound as they are spelled. So bang, ouch, pow, zap. Words like these in this example graphic here. If you'd like to choose words that I'm not doing, that's fine for this particular assignment. I'm just going to throw some examples out there for y'all to see. So when we come into this example animation, I'll show you what we're looking at. And what we're talking about mainly is adding some filters to text, things, shadows, things like that, and glows around them. Also using what are called motion presets in order to actually animate these words. None of these are animations or tweens that I've actually had to make. They're all set in the program here. So let's go ahead and start a new project together here. ActionScript 3 will work. All right, for this first layer, I'm going to call this huh, and we are going to take our type tool and go ahead and click and drag and make a text box here, HUH, exclamation point, question mark. And so we can get fun with the text that we choose here. Try and choose a different font for each word that we add in here. That works for me. I'll scale this up just a little bit. The other thing I'd like us to see is that we can add filters, like I was just mentioning, to text. So if you go to our properties bar down below, we have things like drop shadows. We can change the amount of shadow that is on this text. If you see, if I click off to the side there, you can actually see the shadow applied. I can change the amount of blurring that's happening with the drop shadows. Also the angle I can change as well. And also the distance we can be playing with as well. So some different effects that we can add to any text or any movie clip, actually. Any graphic that you turn or convert into a movie clip, you can also add these different filters and properties too. And you can add multiples as well. So if I want to add a drop shadow and a bevel, which is kind of like an edge, I can add that bevel edge too. You know, I didn't want to play with that too much right now. Maybe I'll just turn down the bevel. See, so that's kind of just a little bit funny on my text. So if I want to subtract one, I just click it and then hit subtract. So I'll take that out for now. But again, you can experiment and play with any of these as you see fit for your own project. So what I need to do is hit F8 on my keyboard and convert this into a movie clip. I'm going to call it huh. And then what we're going to do is just apply what's called a motion preset. And so if we go over to our toolbar on the side here, see these three little circles kind of moving in an arc. I'm going to click on that motion preset and then click on the arrow next to this folder to kind of unload and look at all these different motion presets that we have. So imagine that your graphic, whatever you have selected, is going to be in the place of this red bouncing ball, doing basically what it's doing. So I'm going to choose this bounce in 3D, so this is kind of like getting closer to us as it bounces, and apply that. All right, now what we're going to notice is that this, where it finishes, is off our stage a little bit. So in order to change that positioning, I can either take the position here of this actual text and move it using my free transform tool, or I think what I like better is to go to edit and select all, and then it's going to give me everything here. Let's see. Okay, so I clicked off and then went back to my free transform tool. Now I have everything here, and if I just hold shift and click and drag from the corners, and then if I click on my text and move it up a little bit, it's going to move this whole thing. So now it's in my stage. So let's see if I preview this. It might still go off the edge just a little bit. Yeah. So I'll move it a little bit, just a little bit further, just holding shift and clicking and dragging. Let's give that another test. All right, so that works pretty good. So one word so far animated. We did a little adjusting to the placement. I'm going to do two more here just to show a couple of tweaks that we want to add to some of these effects. Next one I'm going to put is zing. Again, you can, for your own particular project, use any words, fonts, colors, filters, anything that you see fit. This that I'm doing here is strictly demonstration purposes. I'm going to go ahead and change my font again. Let's see, maybe I'll go with like a chalkboard kind of effect here and change my font color. Do make sure that you change your font colors for each one of your text effects we have going here. So zing is going to go over here, and I just don't want it to quite run into my other words, so maybe I'll move it up just a tiny bit. All right, so I need to convert this into a graphic, or a movie clip rather, in order to apply these motion presets. So I'm going to call this one zing movie clip. Again, go to my motion preset menu, and again, you can feel free to use any ones that you want in your assignment. All of these are options, and again, these can be applied to any graphic, not just text. But the one that I'm particularly looking for this one that I'd like to add in is the spiral 3D effect. Now this is pretty cool. It brings into play our 3D rotation ability that we have in Adobe Animate, which is pretty fun. But when I preview this, you'll see it's going to just flip one way and then stop. So what I'm going to do is make a little adjustment to it. I'm going to select this last frame here, and then when you see next to your cursor that box with the dots around it, the white box with dots around it, means you can move that frame. I'm just going to move that earlier, about midway, 25, and then I'm going to go back to the last frame here, and I'm going to make an adjustment using my 3D rotation tool, which is this tool right here. Kind of looks like a globe with two lines going across it. So when I click on that, and again, you can do this to any graphic, or any movie clip rather. You can rotate this 3D either on the y-axis, which would be going side to side, the x-axis, which is vertical, so rotating it vertically, or the z-axis, which does in more of a really true 3D motion. So if I were to rotate this zing to make it go all the way this way, that means it's going to rotate vertically. And then if I change the y-axis, because I want to make it legible at the end, I'm going to rotate it back around so that it comes full circle here. And so I can actually read it at the end. So let's give a look at what that looks like. Okay, so that went all over the place. Not quite as I had planned. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that really quick, and then maybe undo that again. All right, so I'm going to try this one more time. Just keep it really simple. Again, that was fun, and there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but all I really wanted it to do was just change the y-axis so that it comes all the way around and it turns 360 there. Okay, so now let's try and watch that one more time. Alright, so there it goes. It went full 360 rotation around, which is more like what I was going for. Now again, feel free to play with these, have some fun with them. And last one I'm going to add in is going to be the poof, kind of a smoke disappearing effect that we can add here. So again, I'm going to do one more word. I'm going to put it down in my lower left-hand corner here, P-O-F, exclamation point. Going to change my font color on this one, maybe to like a blue. And again, going to do a different font this time. Let's see, that should work. I'm going to move this down just a little bit, again, so it's not quite colliding with my other text here. What do I need to do next is convert it to a movie clip. So again, poof, movie clip. Could add filters. Again, you could add filters to any of these. Maybe a glow or something like that could work on this one, actually, but what I'm going to do is just go ahead and add this smoke preset. So what that's going to do is make this just poof into a smoke cloud. So what we see here now is when I preset, or when I test this, it just really just dissolves right away. Which I'm going to change a little bit so that we can actually read what it is. So if I take my mouse and I go right here on this edge, now see, I don't want my cursor to look like this. That means it's just going to change the size of this window. But if I put it over here and you see just those two double arrows, that means I can drag this back so this starts a little bit later. So this motion tween won't start until a little bit later. What I want to do here is probably just take this first frame. If I right click on it, go to copy frames, back to this first frame, and then paste frames. Actually, nope, that's not the way that I wanted to do it. Sorry, what I'll do is just take this this poof graphic, and I'm just going to move it back into my stage. It's a movie clip rather. But so what that's going to do is that's going to go and turn into this. So what I might do is see that it moves position a little bit. So I feel like I want this to be pulled over to the right just a tiny bit. Just going to nudge it a little bit with my mouse or with my keyboard arrows. And so that's going to create that effect. All right, so poof, huh, and zing. All right, so those are the three I felt wanted to show just because there's little added steps to doing each of those. I would like you to choose 5 for your actual assignment that we did. So the others that I added in that you could choose to add in might be bang or zap. I have coming across here with some other motion presets. But hope you have lots of luck and fun with this little assignment.